Good morning. We're back again. Yeah, so trying to double stream this week. So some stuff through YouTube and some stuff um, on Instagram on the phone. So yeah, they're over here as well. But I can wave to people again, which is good. Homegrown, Dankden, Ginger Nut, Hairy Gorilla, the Sheer Organic. Nice to see you guys. Pink Mojo shades today, and a lot of coffee. So yeah, we've missed a couple of these lately. You get busy, you end up doing stuff. Um, but yeah, we're back again today. So I just figured I'd jump on and have some people ask some questions, see what I can answer. Oh, that's right. By the way, too, I have coriander. Actually, I got 3 pots of coriander right, from last time, from the last one. So yeah, Homegrown 1018 is over in the States and has the full range of our caddy tins. So shout outs to him, giving those a go, I think, in some Roots Organic soil. Let's see if I can't wave to everyone. Pistol whip. Now watch me whip. All right. I had a background track. Is that the no? That one. Put on something in the background. See if it'll get cancelled. So yeah, the seeds that I put in, the older, these are years and years old now. Coriander seeds that we did last time, they've all come up. So yeah, a pretty high degree of success. And I mean, without the filter on, see, Instagram won't let me do the green screen thing that I've got running on the YouTube at the moment. So yeah, I'm just jazzing it up with a filter, but yeah, they're quite nice. I'm going to transplant them into some Grow Dirt Light soon. DB1 Husker. And yeah, confirmed by Homegrown that he is running Roots Organic. So that'll be cool. It looks like we've got 2 watches on, is it YouTube? No, it's on the Facebook, so shout out to you guys. All right, yeah, so any questions that you have? Some people probably had some from last time. I know that some people had tried the organic cloning using the antimatter and the Green Supreme. Oh, and that's right, the pot line is open as well, which is 0417076598. If you want to call, you can call and leave a message, or you can call and be on the air. It's up to you. Let's grow. Cool to see you. Yeah, so some people have tried it out. Some people with successful clones already. The chilies that I did, victim of circumstance, I said at the time that, you really should clean up the area completely, start all over again. Well, I should have done that because, yeah, didn't have a great degree of success with those. But that's the way she rolls. Had a great degree of success with the coriander, so I'll take it. Jeebers, how you going? And I've got more seeds of that chili anyway. So I think the main question that people had on the organic cloning front was one of them was, can you water the antimatter into the soil rather than like stem dip it? You can, of course, you can do both. But I like doing the stem dip. And shout outs to Steve from Homegrown in Australia, not the Homegrown I was just speaking about. Yeah, they have. That he was sort of the one that kind of put me onto that technique in the beginning. Oh, what did you miss last? Well, it wasn't last week. No, it was the last live rather. I attempted to give a live display of cloning using some of our stuff in full potato mode. So, and also with a green screen, not factoring in that plants are green. Whatever, I'm trying stuff. So yeah, we tried that out. It didn't really work. But I put across some information that, some people, were able to get enough out of to actually complete the task. But that's just on it's Dirty Talk 1 that's on the YouTube channel there. I think it's on our Twitch as well, where it's saved. Hydro Haven, cool to see you. And M. St. Clair. It's confusing running the multiple rigs here, but at the same time, yeah, it's what happened was the last couple of lives I've been getting these warnings because I was using a Restream app, so it would stream from like over on the YouTube to it would basically stream the phone for me from the computer, and Instagram didn't like that. It's against their terms of service or something. And so I got a couple of warnings, and then they were like, if you do it again, you're in big trouble. And we'll axe your account or something. And I was like, okay, that doesn't sound real good. Let's not do that. So I've been trying to figure it out how I can do it. They're supposed to have their own software, but I mean, it's not available. So yeah, just have to do it with a phone and a computer. It's clunky, but apparently it's working, and apparently the microphone thing's making it to the phone and all the crap. So cool. Oh, Rhinoceros, the epic Rhinoceros. So did you pop some old beans after we were talking about it? Come on now. I know you had to give it a go. Did you pop some new ones? What did you grow? What's going on? What's growing on in your tent? What are you gramping with? It's April 30th too, so shout outs to Willie Nelson. It's his birthday today. Definitely burn some in his honor. And apparently Jack Nicholson's birthday today as well. So bust in on somebody, surprise them. Maybe burn some and then bust in on someone, or maybe bust in on someone with some stuff to burn. Either way, surprise somebody. In fact, I might just fix a little number in honor of that. Apparently Sydney University found out that, people are increasingly using medicinal plants that they're accessing. Who'd have thought? Australians being high on the uptake of such things. Who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thought that? Don't know. Not me. Not me. I'm just chilling. What are you hurting for, Hydro Haven? Yeah, right, okay. Look at, oh, I get it. Pheno. Oh, you put Pheno. Josh D. What's up, my bro? And Cause, the epic Cause. A single course today, or is it a multi-account course? Managed to get headphones working this time, so I won't be sort of destroying the audio levels like I did last time. Good fun. And yeah, different lights in here this time too. Couple upgrades. Shout outs to upgrades. I hope you've upgraded something in your life recently. Greened Out team, always upgrading stuff. Oh no, it was just I didn't understand what you meant, Hydro Haven, so I do now. We're on the same level. Can you dig it? Little bits of joyness. Happy Sunday to you too, Josh and Richie and everybody else on here. Yeah. I got some coriander growing. Probably not as exciting as some of the stuff you guys have got. A lot of you have probably heard Willie Nelson's music, but have you ever seen his movies? Did you even know he was in them? Now, you've probably seen some of the later ones, but what about some of the early stuff? Just let that chill there for a second. Next to the coriander. Brentals. What's going on, man? What's going on indeed? Mr. Canna Candy. Luke AJ. Yeah, so I'm not going to try and attempt any like multi-camera stuff now. I'm not going to try and attempt any live demos. It's too difficult. But yeah, I do like having the chats. That's good fun. And yes, it has been a minute. Yeah, I tried to do them, and yeah, I haven't been real regular with them lately. Let's face it. But that is what it is. Life is what it is. Stuff's not always on time, but you know, this is what time it is. Today's topics. Well, I figured that we would just overview some of the stuff, and I figured that we would go over a bit of Island Blend and the dry amendments, not so much the soluble stuff, because some people are asking about that. It's a more low maintenance way, and if you're going sub-irrigated, then that's, yeah, a easier approach. So how about we sort of touch on that stuff? Deep as a mother. That's a sick name. How you going gives me. And rhinoceros. Many beans have been popped. The heat is inbound. Nice. Because it's getting cold. I mean, someone's got to heat this place up. So, you know, heat it up with some funk. Yeah. So I suppose if you haven't seen the video that I did, I mean, if you can decipher something from that, cool. If not, I shot a little tutorial thing, so I'm editing that. We'll see how that cleans up. That'll probably be a lot more illustrative. But yeah, okay, so Island Blend and dry amendments. The feeding guide that we have at the moment mainly focuses on the soluble stuff. So all the programs utilize the grow biotics, so the Rhizo Mojo and the dark matter and the antimatter. Or use Green Supreme because it's Green Supreme. Like, I'm going to use it. But I mean, the food package, so in terms of what you're feeding them, predominantly is in the feeding guide, the aquamarine and ocean potion. Some people have been combining the dry amendments, Herb Superb and a bit of Stone Age with it, and sort of, you know, developing these halfway kind of things. Critter, nice to see you, dude. Yeah, so developing these kind of halfway programs. And yeah, for the sub-irrigated stuff, that works quite well because you can't always water in stuff as much as you would like. Warriganj, how you going? Cool to see you, man. Yeah, so you can't always water in stuff as much as you'd like if you're using a sub-irrigated system. That's the whole point of them. So using stuff like the Herb Superb and or individual dry amendments, however you want to run that, is, yeah, it's a good way of doing it. I'm kind of writing another feed guide at the moment, like a different one, say like a sub-irrigated guide, that should simplify that a little bit. But I think if you basically just treat it like the light, but use half the amount of Stone Age, that seems to work pretty well. That's kind of what I had been experimenting with. And yeah, seems to work quite well. The danger, I guess, you know, if there is one, is kind of if you're using too much Stone Age in a cocoa medium, because it's not going, it doesn't have the inclination to drop as much in pH as what peat moss does. you might drift a little high, especially depending on what your tap water is. So yeah, that's where a little bit less of that needs less buffering. Likes calcium, but you can supply the calcium and other trace minerals from the ocean potions. So that's where a combination's kind of good. Warrigange, what's new? I don't know, man. This filter's new. I've got a fresh set of Mojo shades on because my other ones are all scratched. Yeah. Apart from that, not much else is new, man. What's new for you? How's all that photo fire going? Yeah, with a proper mic. A proper microphone. Who would have thought? Yeah. You can hear my annoying voice in even better detail now. But yeah, how's the photo fire going for you, man? Critter Candy opening a new Herb Superb for top dressing before some rain today. So yeah, shout outs to that. Good time to do it. Photos are powering along just flipped. So are they genetics that were hunted when you were overseas? Overseas, looking for seeds. Mean keen with the beans. A bean fiend indeed. Yeah, right. A new germination light. Okay. Not sure what you'd be running. You tend to always have the latest. Okay, yeah. So yeah, all stuff from that trip. So yeah, that'll be cool, man. Yeah, we've got two people watching on the YouTube by the look of it. Hey ho. What do you know? What's the go? T-nut, not a peanut. Some of your guys' handles on here are yeah, they're pretty hilarious. Oh, and don't worry. I mean that the stuff I was twisting up before, it's approved. Like, you know, it's fine. I have one of those jars. It's all good, man. It's all good. Don't worry. Yeah. So in terms of timing, how would you treat the island blend different to uh, the light soil? I mean, that's basically the major difference that I would do. A bit less Stone Age. Keep the ocean potion really about the same. Keep the aquamarine really about the same. Feel free to drop those back a bit if you notice that they're getting a little bit too much, particularly on the week that you've actually applied the top dressing. And if you've pre-activated your top dressing, then maybe even just skip it for that week. They probably don't need it. Someone rolled a clone in dark matter and it got the mojo back. Oh yeah, mad one. Ah, okay, yeah, yeah. Moisture can look. Moisture's the enemy of any of the dry soluble powders. Um, Keeping them in a bag, like, you know, so like keep the actual tin or something like that. Put it in a box or a bag. That's the best way to keep those stuff. You got to keep the area like that they're in dry. Treat them like a food product, basically. And not leaving the lid off when you're mixing stuff up also helps. Get your scoop out, put the lid on. Don't want the moisture to ruin your dose. And then it won't kick in. Your plants will be like, what the? Phillips Lockie. Warrigange got some stuff in Grow Dirt Light. Yeah, okay, so you can augment fiddle about, chase things around a little bit. Let's go. Oh, we've got a watcher on Twitch. No way. No way. Grow Green Daddy. The perennial Grow Green Daddy. Just do this like this. See, it's in stand. How la-di-da. Stone Man on YouTube. First time using our stuff. Loving the simplicity and the growth. Oh, well, that's awesome, man. Shout outs to you, Stone Man. Stay stony. That's what's up. I appreciate you too, Philip. Yes, morning, Gregory, and Aussie Autos. Yeah, Critter. Something else you can do, Critter, and this goes for, I mean, really, the Ocean Potion doesn't go hard. And then Green Supreme, less so now, but you still can get it there if you fiddle about too much. Dissolve it in some warmish water, and then just, basically make a concentrated liquid. Keep that in your fridge. Label it so that you don't drink it or think that it's food product. I don't know why you would. But yeah, that's sort of, when sometimes you get to the last bit of the tin and you're like, oh, is that still good or not? It is. It's still fine. You can do that. So just make yourself a little concentrate there. Make yourself some cordial, some plant cordial. Warriganger's got some Hawaiian stuff. Hawaiian stuff, yeah, see? That's one of those ones, like, kind of didn't really have a lot of luck with that. Tried some things, though, so. But, keen to see how you do it, dude. The ones that we had were Kona Gold, and there's another one. Oh yeah, there was like a Kona Cross Colombian as well. So yeah, some various different iterations of that kind of stuff. Some people seem to have the opinion that it's very difficult to do that stuff outside of its homeland. But I mean, you could tune your conditions right up. I suppose look them up, see what they are in Hawaii, see if you can't emulate that. Peanut Butter Breath box set. It's these names are getting kind of crazy, don't you think? They're getting all crazy. They've been crazy for a minute. That sounds good though. Oh, Papa Bear Burnett. A legend. The myth. All fire. Okay, well that's good. Fire is what we're after. The sort of fire that doesn't really burn down too much stuff. Did I miss that before, Aussie Autos, that you're tuning in from the garden? Nice. You'll have to write in the comments there, Warrigange, what the cross actually is. But yeah, all right. So getting back to what we were talking about, that's one of the challenges, I guess, if you like to water in a lot of your supplements, is that with a sub-irrigated system, there's not very many opportunities to do that normally. And you can try and mix stuff into your feed water, but your organics, particularly like your real organics, tend to have biofilm buildup, and they sort of precipitate out if they're not mixed pretty well. I tend to like to mix and use that sort of stuff as quickly as possible. So yeah, like the kind of mixing them up, keeping them in the feed tank thing, it's a difficult one to do. Yeah, the soil farm. So that's where, yeah, applying things as a top dress is a much simpler way to go about it. And yeah, it can suit. It's not as explosive. It's maybe not as easy to turn things around, because the results are generally slower. But if you're good at planning ahead, it's a terrific way to go as well. And it's undoubtedly lower maintenance because you're applying something once every 2 to 4 weeks instead of applying something on a multi times a week basis. We're again just looking at beds now. 25 packs. That's decent, dude. It's a decent effort. Yeah, I mean, do that stuff and then just do like are you gonna do just like a big multi run? That sounds like a good approach. Sweet baby May. Yeah, I have water as well. It's not just coffee. It's also water. It can be a good way to run through a bunch of stuff. Some people try and run through a bunch of stuff in just small pots, but I don't think that really gives you kind of the expression of stuff, because if things are starving the whole time and they're in little cramped conditions, you're getting some idea of what the line's going to do, but you're not really getting a full picture of it because the plants are basically not as healthy as they could be. So yeah, the bed idea, running a bunch of stuff in there, even though there's going to be competition between the plants, I still think they're in a better position than if they're just running in kind of cramped little containers. Grow Green Daddy there with the 60-liter ones. I mean, I guess it depends on on the plant, like on the strain. If there's stuff that's liable to be quite big, you'd obviously run less, and if there's stuff that's compact and smaller, then you would run more. But I mean, anywhere between 4 and 6 would be pretty good. I think those are in a 60-liter container. That's plenty, and obviously flipping things early, so you're not expecting to, not expecting to veg things for any amount of time. But yeah, even in there, even though they're not sharing a tremendous amount of soil, I still think it's better than 10 individual containers. Maybe a little bit easier to manage too. I reckon I've probably got about $5 worth of coriander here on this table right now. Like they sell that for like $2 at Woolworths. There we go. You bump out the microphone cord and it doesn't work. That's cool. It's a good trick, that. Let's do it again. So yeah, look, there will be a bunch of grow guides set out to shops soon. I did a reprint on them with all the updated stuff, and I even added a back page that tells you how to read the guide, because we decided to make a guide that was so confusing / fabulous that it's difficult to read. So it demystifies it. There's also an origin story for Groku on the back there. 3 people, 4 people. Okay, cool. Got 3 in veg. You can just do that. Just make sure you got space to put them, dude. That's the real trick. It's kind of predicting how much space that you're going to need. A lot of people get excited because it's really easy to fit a bunch of stuff in a small area, but they very quickly, especially if you're doing the right stuff, they very quickly go other places, take up a lot more room. Yeah, I agree. Orange, the voice of reason right there. And yeah, I've seen amazing results with beds. I mean, you can get fabric pots and all that sort of stuff to work great too. But I think if you're running a bunch of stuff, that's what I'm talking about. Whether it's that it's more difficult to manage a bunch of smaller pots. I personally just think that a small pot, yeah, never produces a really terrific plant. They hit the wall pretty quick. Yeah, you got to listen to Warrigange. Honduras. You got some sort of damn tobacco or something like that? Making cigars or something? I'm actually surprised how well I'm doing with navigating buttons, even though the Mojo Eye is basically obscure. Probably a good 75% of what I'm seeing. It's terrific. Any light sources, little love heart at the moment. Butt sack. That was just a random outburst. That's someone's handle. What's up, my dude? Sweet baby May with the seedlings feeling the cold. Yeah. Yeah, you have to figure out some heat. I think there's some plans on the net for greenhouse heaters. But they're basically just some congee pipe with water and a water heater in them. And so the water heater heats the water, heats the pipe. If they're inside, then yeah, you might have to add a radiant heat source or a fan heater or something like that just to get that heat up a little bit. Fan heaters are, maybe a little bit extreme, but they're really good for lowering your humidity and they heat the area really quickly. Good for little bursts of heat. Grey Green Daddy. So what are you actually flowering at the moment, Grey Green Daddy? I've kind of lost where you're up to, my dude. Which ones did you actually end up deciding to go with? And midwinter. Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool. That's interesting. Seems like the inopportune time for something from Hawaii. But bringing that tropical energy into the cold Australian winter. Catnip, not to be confused with catnap. What's going on? Right. So you're going to go around with the old MS again. Alrighty. I'm excited to see how this one runs. And this is in the sub-irrigated, so we'll have some basis for comparison, I guess. I think they'll do better if you flip them earlier and, yeah, with the sub-irrigated sort of, taking care of the watering side of it. Cocoa Garden. Hey, I got it to do the thing today, man. I'm gonna go like this because it's warm in here, just like that. Sometimes you just got to do that. Rhinoceros bringing back the stank house. Nice. Yeah, that was some weird stuff. That had some weird terps. It reminded me of some stuff like, kind of like anything from Mendo seems to have like a particular kind of aroma about it. It had a little bit of that in there, but it had like this other weird kind of like almost a rosemary, or I don't know. You're right. I mean, it was a stank. It was just kind of a weird, yeah, that was a weird one. It wasn't bad. It was almost like you'd kind of be like, oh, I don't know if I like that. Give me another, yeah, kind of like that. And then after a little while, you're like, I kind of wish I had that again. That was kind of cool. Good to know that it's not completely gone. Oh no. Always label as you go, dude. Yeah, that's really important. So always, label your mother plants correctly, but label your clones, label your seeds, label that stuff as you're going, because memory isn't what it should be. It'll let you down. Trust me. Dragon stash. Yeah, that sounds cool. I mean, because it's got the word dragon in it. Do a back cross, call it double dragon. Hey, what's up? You're right, Rhino. It was stank. Yeah, 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 yeah. Just a Sharpie, man. Keep a Sharpie in there. One of the laundry ones. And yeah, use it. Red tags, pegs. They work really well. Like clothes pegs. I don't know what that is, Warwick Ange. That sounds cool though. Yeah, so whichever ones take like 16 weeks to start flowering, they're probably the missies, right? That sounds about right. 12 months later, they finish. It's a marathon, that one, not a sprint. In terms of dosage, what would you use? I would stick with the same dosages of Herb Superb. Um, so, your balanced supergrass, maybe or whatever doses. I normally recommend 125 mils per 20 litres of soil. So you could go the same amount per 20 litres of Island Blend, and that'll be, yeah, nice little sweet spot there. Some people use a bit more, some people use a bit less. Ah, right, okay, yeah. So I thought you were talking about, yeah. Oh, well, this is what happens when you start putting new stuff in there. Put more stuff in there. Do that. Also, the name Munted Hunter is that's an interesting name for a strain, isn't it? The feed guides are available on the Discord too, and on the website. We had some upgrades done to the website. We're still trying to kind of merge it with the main site at the moment, but yeah, it's starting to look better. It's starting to look more, I don't know, it does stuff now. It does more animated stuff. You can poke it and prod it. It's got more whiz bangs and fandangles. Ganja Victoria. What's going on? Hola. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Yes, I do know what you're referring to. Say no more. I think Warwick again just got too much stuff. That's why he's trying to run through a bunch of it all at once. Sort that out, bring down the numbers. You know, there's prizes if you call the pot line. Like it's fun to call it just and leave a voicemail. 18 months. What's this I'm hearing about here? Organch. Something with Zamadelica. I've seen people just run the regular thing of that, and they were absolutely enormous, great big gigantic things. So what? They're like, you know, 8 or 9 feet tall. Yeah, wow. Okay. Good work. Interested in that. Yeah, so we'll probably have some photos out with that new um, Island Blue feeding guide soon. Some of the people are running that now, so check that I'm on my shiz, doing my stuff, doing it right. It depends how long they take to flower, Gregory and Daddy. I think you're only allowed to grow ones that. I think you're only allowed to grow. Oh, turn my mic up a bit. Is that better? Is that any better? Um, I think you're only allowed to grow ones that take 16 plus weeks to flower, my dude. You've been banned. Vanished to that corner. Let me know. Can you hear me now? Grows clover trying the sub-irrigated method. For sure. So what, have you built your own containers? A lot of people are just using those modified ones. Still pretty quiet, is it? Okay. I don't know how loud I can kind of make it. That's a lot of gain on the mic. See if that works. Yeah. I've seen some good designs on those. Hmm. Well, I'm not running it the same way this time, man. I'm running it a different way. It's running through, yeah, I got a phone and a different thing going, so maybe it's not. Yeah, and see you later, critter. I did. Then it's all up in my face, though. Is that close enough to my face? Am I doing it right? Do you want to lean right into it and talk to it like that? Cool. All right. I didn't realize that to be so close to this damn thing. If I was that close on a PA system, it would like totally, yeah, comfortable. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Pro tips from pro people. What is it that some people say? Just like a this far away from your face. Yeah, that's what I was. That's what I was going to say, Gregory Daddy. I feel like it. Was it? You put it closer to your face on every live. I'm trying, Coco. I'm trying, my dude. That is clearer. I can hear that clearer in the headphones, obviously. So you know. That's what the headphones are for. I'm not sure, dude. I mean, like, it sounds loud on the device I'm using. Yeah, it sounds like I got good audio. I'm looking at the thing and it's hitting the level okay. Like, you know, but I'm with you. I'll figure it out. I'll fix it. I'll see if I can add something to the. I don't know. Wait a minute. What if I go like that? Is that better? Does that? Does that? Oh, hang on. I think I just found something. Hey, how's that? Is that better? I like you. You like me. Issues downstream somewhere. But is that better, Coco? Does that work better? I don't know. I think I had something turned down that I could have turned up a bit higher. So I tried that. See if that works a little bit better. No change at all. All right. Okay. Then I can't help you all because I've run out of things to fiddle with. I don't have any knobs left to fiddle with, so I'm getting distracted by that now. I'm glad that you can hear me, Rose Clover. That's good. I can't even pronounce that one. That's a bit louder. What about that? If I just max that out, like what does that do? Blow all your eardrums probably. Tumex. Just keep talking. Yeah, that's the way. That should be what I call this stuff. Just keep talking. Just keep talking. Just just keep rambling. More coffee. Keep rambling. It's all over the shop at the moment. We'll figure this stuff out. I don't know where to look. I should be looking at this one here. I'm looking at this one here. I need to put them both next to each other. Max. Coming on to the max. Don't press the wrong button, man. There we go. No. Yeah, don't press the wrong one. I might have some kind of auto thing set somewhere. That's something for you and me to talk about after this is over, Coco, I reckon. What do you reckon? Something you can help me out with there? You can help me route this audio. I'll go and practice. You can show me how to do it. Thank you. Appreciate that. Some people strongly disagreeing with me about last time not scraping the stem. It was apparently very divisive. So if you're a stem scraper or a stem splitter, or you do both, rock on. Do your thing. Just because I don't do it doesn't mean you can't do it. I was just showing you how I do it. Happy Wookie. A happy Wookie is better than a sad one or an angry one. You've also really got to watch fiddling with the microphone and fiddling with the damn phone. Grey Green Daddy, not going to fiddle around scraping the stems. And yeah, don't play a Wookiee in Space Chess. Just, and if you're going to, just let one win. It's for the best. Newbie grows. It could be what's causing you dramas, or it might not be. It might be something else. But yeah, it's not something that I worry about tremendously. I just worry about keeping it all as clean as possible, which is where I stuffed up with those chili cuttings. I really should have gone and got some Glen 20 or something and just sprayed down the area, wiped it all over, cleaned it. Yeah, see, Warrigange uses the dark matter. I use the antimatter, is the thing. Some people really like the dark matter for that, whereas I'll normally wait until they've got roots and then kind of apply that one. I haven't tried both. Mix both together. I think, possibly a wormhole might start if I do that. So I just I haven't tried that one yet, for fear I'll wreck the space-time continuum. I mean, it's just one of those things, Happy Wookie, that if you're into mycology, it tends to get sort of pushed around a lot as something that's good to have. Alcohol sprays, anything like that, even PinoClean, it all works pretty good. Bleach is probably going to be your best. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, bleach is, like if you're into tissue culture or you've been in Hort or anything like that, bleach is what's recommended. And yeah, it's going to be best, but any of those sanitizers work pretty good. You can get some quaternary ammonium stuff that works quite well too. So yeah, that quaternary ammonium stuff's like what they use in hospitals. But yeah, bleach is also what they use to sanitize things. So yeah, don't use bleach in hot water either. Jimbo Jones putting you on to using the dark matter on clones. Yeah, I'll use bleach often to sanitize things, and I'll normally have just a simple alcohol dip in a flame. I like to flame things, but yeah, the the bleach dip is great too. You can do both. Some people will do one or the other. Ocean's Focus. I think as long as you're making a good attempt at keeping things clean. I mean, yeah, there's chances that you can get mosaic viruses and all that sort of stuff, but in general, if you're making a good attempt at keeping things clean when it comes to cloning, growing in general, you're going to do well. Oh, we have a call. Yeah, a lot of people having trouble with spider mites lately. So yeah, do all your preventative stuff as much as possible. Stay on top of your IPM game. I think the biggest thing that seems to make a big difference for a lot of people is if you're going to get anything from anybody, quarantine it. It kind of needs to be done. And watching out for vector plants, so things that'll be in your yard, um, around your workplace, things like that that might be harboring those sort of stuff. I haven't personally seen that. I've seen some weird virus-looking stuff in blueberry plants before, Ocean's Focus, but I don't know whether that's just a genetic thing that they do. It does look similar to some of those symptoms, though. Oregange citrus spray. I mean, you could probably argue that alcohol's pretty organic, but yeah, keep it clean. The cleaner it is, the meaner it is. Yeah, unless it's in flour, and then definitely don't spray it with sulfur. Unless you like them like brimstone terps. Shouldn't really be spraying anything in flour though. The idea is to kind of prevent stuff to the point where you don't have to do anything past like 2 or 3 weeks um, into flour, because yeah, I mean, you ideally don't want to be having to spray anything at all. No, yeah, man, there's no such thing as late here. Everyone's on time. Everyone gets here when they're meant to be here. Orange killed off some whitefly. Yeah. They're a persistent little thing too. They're annoying. Wizard of Oz. How you going? Agreed. Kill them all again. Never late, never early, always on time. That's what time it is. Next time you're running late, remember that. Someone called the number. You can call back. Yeah, you really shouldn't be spraying anything on your flowers. You know, you gotta remember that it's a consumable that you're going to combust. So that alone kind of makes it a challenge to apply anything to. And even if it's a natural oil spray or whatever, it's going to leave a coating, right? I mean, if you put oil, like put it on your skin, how residual does it feel on your skin? Well, it's going to be that kind of level of residual on your plant, and it's not going to come off like it is with you. You're showering, washing your hands, all that sort of stuff like that. So that's what you'll find. Is that even the organic stuff, you kind of you'll solve one problem and cause another. Definitely degradation of quality, and quality is where it's at. If you're not going to produce quality stuff, then there's not really any point doing it. So yeah, but the mother room is normally where most people's diseases hang out. It's easy to neglect that area. Getting clones and things from buddies is another way, depending on how clean that is, you know, or how reputable or how good of a grower they are. So yeah, it kind of creeps in early. It's unfortunate sometimes you'll get it in flower. That just sometimes happens. But yeah, and yeah, agreed. If you're spraying stuff with tap water that's got calcium and all those sorts of things mixed into it, then yeah, that's going to leave some residue as well. You can go a bit nuts trying to think of all that sort of stuff, but yeah, and even organic oils, though, you know, some people would prefer not to have those applied. They might not show up on a pesticide test because they're not really a pesticide, are they? It's not really on that list. It's the old you can't test for it. It won't show positive if it's not on the test. Unhazed auto. Organic Escate. They're exactly like that spray on hair. I think it was called, wasn't it Yeah Hair or something like that? It was like they would spray it in the spot and fill it in. Plus, I mean, even if it is good and it's organic and all the rest of it, you're dealing with something that when it gets wet, it's got much greater propensity for it to mold. So early on in the development, there's not a bunch of brown hairs and kind of maturing calyxes and things like that that are prone. As it progresses, the flower develops more kind of like dead material, and dead material is prone to rot in nature, especially. So yeah, not spraying that or not getting that wet. I mean, outdoors you can't do much about it. Stuff just has to kind of be resilient about that. But yeah, indoors, you're the one that's controlling that sort of stuff. So it doesn't make sense to wet down your flowers. Planet Moolah. I don't know, man. You know, I've traveled and stuff like that. So when I've been on planes and things like that, probably a while. Not that long though. Had a good night's rest last night. Was distracted. What about you? Patients Focus had some people, some weird genetics lately. That is a bit strange, yeah. You have to show me a picture of it so I can sort of pick up on it. Someone was showing me pictures the other day of some plants that have like a heavy degree of fasciation. So it's kind of, if you've ever seen it before, it's where the stem kind of flattens out and grows all these weird, like indeterminate little stems all the way along it. Yeah, it looks really strange. It happens in cacti, and they call them cristate forms. They're highly prized. But yeah, in this particular plant, it's not a useful condition, mutation. But yeah, it was making this very strange looking top. It looked almost like, if you've ever seen a celosia at a garden centre, it looked a lot like that, but all with the white pistils. Yes, the poor ozone indeed. Yep, extra UV for us. It's been an hour already, has it? Look at that. Time flies when you're having fun. All right. I think I'm going to call it. An hour is about where I hit the wall. And it's also, and when I say that, normally that's where people are like, oh, one last thing. Or I think of one last thing. No, I haven't seen that one. What's it called? Marijuana Australiana. I haven't seen that one. Okay, I'll check it out. Thanks for the tip on that, Green Daddy. How you going, Vince? See if I can't do this. Do two things at once, eh? The cool thing about doing it this way is, even though it's a pain, it hasn't like locked me out or anything like that so far. So that's cool. Full bloom. Press that. Press that. Yep. It works. Oh, any new news of legalization, legalizing things, legalize it. Yeah, I mean, they're talking about doing some stuff with some approved strains, whatever that means. How do you get approved? Who approves it? Who's the board of people that they put these things to? Can I be on it? They bring me stuff and I'm like, I don't know if that should be approved. I don't know if that's really, I don't know if that really represents what we're doing. Oh, right, yeah. No, I know about all that story. That dude, man, old heads have been telling me that story for years. So it's pretty cool that they've actually turned that into a documentary. It's radical. But yeah, it was quite a. I think I've told it before as well. It was a bit of a scandal. It became kind of like an election issue. That there was all this wild stuff that they imported. They imported the wrong type, and it ended up growing everywhere, all over the place. Frosty Green Trees. Always growing some really radical stuff. Nice to see you, man. Okay, so someone there calling me on how I get approved. Oh, right. Okay. Oh, I'll keep practicing my flows then. Yeah, so you got to practice your flows. Apparently that'll get you approved. But yeah, I'd love to know who approves it. You know, is it one of those things? I mean, probably Burner's going to have some stuff that's approved there, right? He'll definitely be all up in there, rubbing his mitts together like this, doing this one. He does that a lot. A lot. I think that's what happens when you know that money's coming. You do this one. I wouldn't know. I don't know. Maybe they'll just have. Maybe it's not all we think. Maybe it's just like a board, and they just want some free stuff. Just want some free kickbacks. They sit in a room and they put on, like, I don't know, like classics like How High and Pineapple Express and you know, and they just sit around and watch them write down how they feel. And imagine everyone's button-up shirts and very professional. Time consumed 4 minutes. Sorry, 4:20. Effects registered 4:30. That's what that's more to the point. Cause is on the money there. How do I get on the team? Like, you know, I've always got some secret shit that I'm conjuring up, dude. That's why I've missed some lives. I've been working on some stuff. Working on some things. Working on some machines. So I don't have to be a machine. I don't know, man. Like, Grey Granddaddy might have it wrong. You might be thinking of it wrong, man. They might be just trying to prevent anyone from having like some embarrassing stuff. We've had traditionally not a great name internationally. I think people come down here to travel and find things and maybe don't find the best stuff because they don't have the best hookup. So maybe it's like that. Maybe they're trying to sort of. I doubt it though. There'll be some kind of money thing. I don't know how. I think they tried that in Uruguay. I'm not quite sure how it works there. But yeah, it's some approved. It's got to be approved. It tends to be how regulation works, right? You know, you've got to establish a new department. That department's got to be in charge of approvals, and yeah, people that are tasked with approving things. Then they have like a little board. The president of that board, the president of the approvals board for this new department. And have a bunch of underlings, staffers, and all kind of people. Yeah, create like a whole new industry for themselves. Can't just simply just go, it's out there, let it be out there. Just send me a PM, Warrigange. I'll send you some of that new. I've sent out some new funky Grow Dirt labels lately. So yeah, I've updated some of the labels. Like the Gorilla one's been long coming. But yeah, it's out there. There's already some bags of the new full spec label that have kind of floated out there into the world. So if you see some kind of weird looking ones and you think, is that the same? Yeah, it's the same stuff. It's just different bag. But the back labels now are a lot easier to read and decipher what's doing what's in there and what it does. Vince Chatton, what's the thumpingest strain going? Oh my lord, I don't know about the thumpingest. That's a hell of an adjective. Well, I think that's the implication. Is that, you know, if there's approved ones, then there's not approved ones, right? So what about the not approved ones? Like, what happens there? How does that factor into the whole deal? I'm guessing that most people have the non-approved ones. So, I mean, I've got some approved stuff here in a jar. It's approved, unapproved. I need it. Apparently, I need it. So yeah, I don't know how the rest of that kind of I don't know how the rest of that's kind of going to work. Yeah, so that's what everyone always said when I was over there too, Oregon. I mean, I haven't spent much time in Canada at all, but in the US, that was certainly the general going sentiment from people was, you know, I went there once, and everything I found was dog crap. But you know, it's not all like that. You just got to know the right people. They're just you go to a tourist resort and you're hanging out somewhere. I mean, I guess it is what it is, right? Stores make that easier. I'm sure overseas, before they had shops everywhere, it was a little bit the same. And to kind of know someone, otherwise you're like, anyone? Yeah. Makes it easy when you can just stumble off a plane and wander into a shop and go, do you have with the thing? Phew, on the tubes, or is it on Facebook? No, it's on Facebook. How you going, man? So I can't reply. Cool. Yeah. See, we're again just working to try and change that sentiment, as are many other members of the community doing their part, trying to rid the world of mids. Gucci, I was wondering if we were going to see you. Full bloom. I mean, we've seen some pretty insane stuff, like, you know, in really, really big bags, you can get, you know, multiple pounds per plant, at least, you know, especially with big ones. The trouble with the really big monsters is the bigger the plant, normally the more you lose to mold and rot and things like that. But indoors too, some very respectable gram per watt yields. Some people, I think, some of the more impressive ones, because, you know, yeah, it's kind of easier to get really good yields in a decent sized room with all the mod cons. But some of the ones that really impress me are people that yield a lot in small spaces. So it might not be an enormous yield total, but at the same time, the grams per watt of what they're doing is, yeah, really impressive. If you multiplied that out over a large room, it would be an insane yield. So yeah, it depends what you mean. It's definitely not true. Some people say that you can't get decent quality and a good yield out of organics, and that's, yeah, it's a complete fallacy. Of course you can. You just got to do it right. If you're supplementing the right things at the right time, you're using large enough pots, you've got a really good environment and good plants. It's not that difficult. But there's always a weak link in a chain. And so if you don't have a good environment, or you don't have a good strain, or your feeding and organic regimen is not on point, then yeah, of course you're not going to sort of get that. But yeah, there was a saying that if you go organic, you lose 10 to 20% of your yield, and I just can't see that being a thing. Hey Jared, what's going on? Figure out how to do this. And figure out how to do this. Yeah, cool. There we go. Some there from Warragange. 11.5 for an auto, and that I believe was an indoor auto. Yeah, I mean outdoors the sky's kind of the limit, but yeah, you're going to find that the bigger the plants get, the more damage you're going to get over those plants. So equality probably lies somewhere in the middle. But there are some people that really like to maximize the plant numbers kind of thing. So in doing that, they focus on growing very few amounts of really, really large plants. King's Evil. I think the trick to keeping your yield high and all the rest of it when you're growing organically is you can't let things get behind the 8 ball. So you got to try and keep ahead of things. So trying to think 7 to 10 days in advance is a much better way of going about it. For instance, if you look at top dressing, there's no good waiting until plants are kind of showing obvious signs of deficiency before you do it. You're better off kind of getting in early, maybe even not waiting until there is a deficiency, kind of just apply a little bit and kind of keep things from sliding too far that way. And then it's easier to keep things growing full steam. If you let things kind of start to starve and then you supplement, like say you're growing in smaller pots for whatever reason, a lot of people are doing that. And, to their credit, it makes it easier to water. Yeah, if you're not keeping on top of the supplementation, you wait until the point where they look deficient. By the time that turns around, you can lose a little bit of time there. So really, that's, I think in the guides, what I try and do is try and set it up so that you're kind of staying a week ahead of everything. And that's what a lot of people have found too with their own just experience using stuff. Like for instance, King's Evil there, he ran some stuff in the Island Blend. And on this run, we let them go a little bit too long. They did really well in the containers. And they could have had a top dressing around, week 3 or 4 in flower. We didn't probably get to it, I think, until the end of week 4. I think it maybe might have been the start of week 5. And so growing that variety again on the next run, you would time it so that you did it around the end of week 3, so that by the time that midpoint shows up again, it'll already have what it needs there, if that makes sense. And we don't mind if you watch from both places, King's Evil. That's fine, man. G'day, Gumby. How you going, dude? And grow with me. But that's what can be an advantage with growing the same variety over and over again, is that you can kind of start to predict what it's going to do, when it's going to do it, and better hone your stuff. That's where the grow channels over on the Discord have become kind of a useful resource, because it's people are applying elements of the guide, but also their own experience, their own sort of technique, and so you can kind of get an idea on not only what I recommend, but what other people are doing and getting results from. Hive mind. Yeah, I can do a bit of an overview on that. And King's Evil, can you ask me that one in a new, in a couple of minutes? Right, so with the dark matter, I mean, I guess what would you like to know? But the overview on the best way to use it is to not use it with every watering, using it all the time. And in terms of combinations with our products, what I do is I separate them a bit. So I like to apply it as a root dusting at transplant time. So normally the first time I'll apply it will be once things have developed roots. So, you know, clone, seedling, whatever. I'll apply it as a root dusting then. And then at transplant time, so, you know, when they go from, you know, in week 2 or 3 of veg into a larger container, apply it then. Apply it when you're putting them in at the start of flower into their bigger containers. And then the last time I'll probably use it is mid-flower. So averaging anywhere between, you know, 3 to 8 times a crop cycle, pretty much max. And that works out quite well. The reason is that you want to get a good inoculation in there, yeah, but you don't really need to be wasting the stuff by just applying mycorrhizal fungi all the time. If you're interested in supplementing something on a more regular basis, then antimatter once a week, on any week that you're not using dark matter, is a great way to go. And even more so, the Rhizomojo. So you can use that with every watering if you would like. If you want to try and sort of supplement, help break things down more continually, and it'll work in tandem with either of those, either the dark matter or the antimatter. One time that I would apply it more so would be if I'm trying to sort of keep down like a lot of gnats or something like that. So the Beauveria in it can be quite good at that. I'll dose it pretty heavily for about a week, and that'll reduce those numbers. And by dose it, I mean I'll sometimes dust it to the surface or mix up a pretty good concentration of it, but in a small amount of water, just so I'm not keeping the soil super damp. And if that doesn't work, then I'll normally investigate some predatory nematodes to kind of deal with the gnat issue if they're annoying me. But yeah, I think that little goes a long way with that product, and it's going to continue. Like, it's not just a use it and it only works when you're using it kind of thing. It does continue working after an application. So as long as you get it into them, even a couple of times a crop cycle, you'll notice benefits from it. Using it at transplant time, though, I tend to find really helps with transplant shock as well. Full in some Gorilla Grow Dirt indoor. Yeah, some people do that. So some people will run, you know, obviously the Grow Dirt and the Grow Dirt Light Nylon Blend outdoors, but some people will run the Gorilla Grow Dirt indoors. Like, it's a funky kind of a blend, but it drains really well. And so if you're top feeding with drippers, it seems to work really well for that. And it can take supplementation quite well. So yeah, any of our blends will, just because it says Gorilla on the bag doesn't mean that you can only use it outdoors. You can certainly use it indoors if you so choose to. And yeah, as a lot of people say, like, should I use Mojo? The answer is yes. No time's too early and no time's too late. Mojo can help you, ain't no hate. And yeah, I will get you a link. I think there might actually be a saved story maybe on the homepage, but I'll send you the link anyway, my dude. Get you in there. We could use you over there. The average lifetime with your mycorrhizal supplements. Thank you very much for posting that, Coco. Appreciate that, dude. Well, really, I mean, it can last months. It can last perpetually. The lab grown stuff doesn't tend to kind of last as long as what the endemic microorganisms might. But yeah, generally it's about getting a good inoculation though. So that's where following up applications, a couple of weeks to a month after you've applied it, works quite well, because it may have died off a bit and you can just sort of top those up. But that's also why I don't sort of just use those things with every watering, because there is a ceiling to how much benefit they're going to provide. And inoculating on top of inoculating on top of inoculating is just kind of a bit of a waste of a product, really. Be the bees. Oswald, how you going, dude? Shout outs to you. But in terms of the dark matter, I haven't felt the need to apply it anymore. I mean, I think the guide recommends about 4 times a cycle. Plenty. I reckon that works fine. I wouldn't skip too much antimatter, and I love to use that Mojo. But I mean, even if you're just using one Growbiotic, the dark matter is a good one to pick, and it'll go a long way. Seacliff. Yeah, 5 times is plenty. That's plenty. Like I say, if you want to supplement more often, you can use the Mojo. That's a better candidate for that, totally soluble and all that sort of stuff. Oh, that's exciting. In what area? So did you go like the nursery production one? Did you go like parks and gardens, that kind of stuff? I know they sort of have different areas. Thanks, Oswald. Yeah. Yeah, I'm wearing a set of our HBO Mojo shades. Looking at things from your plant's perspective. Well, I mean, your plant's perspective, if they're using the Mojo, that is. Mr. Hemco. Do you have a set of Mojo shades, Oswald? If you don't, I really got to get you some. The white ones are great fun, but the pink ones are also good. They sort of make everything into a love heart, including this screen. It's interesting to try and use it. Hey, cool, we got to it, Jared. Yeah, no problem, man. And yeah, you've got the Rhizo and the Rhizo Mojo. So you can basically just feel free to use the Rhizo at every watering, every other watering. There's not really too much of a ceiling with that one. I mean, obviously, if you start going too ridiculous with it, you'll just waste it. And yeah, if you stick to around once a week with the antimatter, that's plenty. Oh, that's right. Yeah, King's Evil. So you're going to ask me about that. Cert 3. Okay, yeah, cool. No worries. Oh, well, congrats to that. So dunking. So why would you want to do that? Sometimes your soil, even when you're watering it well, when your plants get really advanced, your soil, especially peat-based soil, can get to a point where it really just doesn't want to absorb water that well. And a good way of fixing that is kind of mixing up a large-ish vessel of water and plunging the pot in that until minimal bubbles are rising up out of it, taking it up out of that, allowing it to drain fully and putting it back in place. That can kind of restore that whole, like obviously if you let it go too far with dry plants, then they're just going to want to float on top, and it's going to be you might have to repeat the process to kind of get it to fully work. But generally speaking, it's something that I'll actually do a couple of times, and I like to try and do it on mother plants as well. So say if it's something like a a 5 litre pot, I would probably put that in around 30 litres of water, anywhere between 20 and 30 litres of water. And if you're going multiple plants, you either mix up multiple batches of the liquid. In terms of what I would mix in, I would use Green Supreme, maybe some microbes if I feel like it, but mostly Green Supreme because I'm trying to get the peat to kind of absorb the water again, and that helps with soil rewetting. But you want to not have too many plants go through the same liquid, because obviously as it drains off, there's things that are going to come off out of the pot. Not exactly salts, but stuff from the other plants. So you don't want to have that going into just like a tiny amount of liquid, so the last plant ends up with all this kind of soup. But yeah, about 4 to 6 times the volume of your pot, soak it in that and allow it to drain. It can be a useful thing anyway, just for you're basically doing a full gas exchange on the soil or pretty close to it. So that can really help with some stuff. Sometimes mother plants will slow down, and that will actually really sort of bring them back. Does Green Supreme have aloe? Yeah, it's got aloe. It's actually got 2 kinds of aloe. So it's got whole aloe, which has been ground to an extremely fine micronized powder, and then it's got a 200 to 1 aloe extract in it. So yeah, 200 kilos of aloe down to 1 kilo of that concentrate. We've got both in there. One's kind of higher in the stuff that's just naturally present in the tissue, so closer to what you would get if you were just using natural aloe leaf, and the other one is higher in the salicylic compounds, so it's going to have a heavier effect, or theoretically a heavier effect on the immune system, activating that SAR. Yeah, it helps with cloning too. King's Eagle, tried it on a hydrophobic outdoor plant. Yeah, it works. Really large pots, you're going to have a tough time doing it, because how on earth are you actually going to, like, yeah, how would you kind of physically do it is the trouble. If you could physically do it, it would work, but it's kind of the practicality of doing that. You would probably need multiple people in a really large vessel. But on smaller stuff, anything up to probably around like a 10-gal pot's probably manageable. And you can get creative in finding containers for those sort of sizes that'll actually work. Hey, Josh. Yeah, the Green Supreme's got a bunch of stuff in it. It sort of covers a lot of different bases. Yeah, you need one of those big old clawfoot baths just to soak your plants in. Yeah, just make sure you rinse the ocean potion out of it. That stuff will leave a residue. And no worries. We're here to answer questions. That's what we're doing. This is what we do. All right. Speaking of which, let's get a couple more in, and then I'm going to go about my Sunday. Figure out a couple of things for the rest of my day. I got some yard that needs hacking down. Someone else's lawn got out of control. It's done nothing but rain here for months and months and months on end. Rain and then sunshine, so it's good lawning conditions. It's not the kind of grass that we want to be fiddling with. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend huffing the Green Supreme, and bathing it's probably not what you want to do either. Feel free to bathe the root ball of your plants in it though, man, and spray them down. Spray your plants down with it. They'll love it. Made for plants, not for people. Unlike Soylent Green, which is made from people. Don't get it twisted. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. A lot of people are surprised by how much the foliar application of that stuff makes a difference. So if you haven't tried that out, I recommend it. In your veg plants once a week, 1 gram per litre. Works really, really good. All right. All right. All right. I'm going to call it. Have a good Sunday, everyone. Thanks for joining. It was a less than focused one, this, but you know, they're not always going to be great. I think what it's more important is that I show up and do these things. So yeah. Have a good Sunday. We out.